You'd think after however long we've all been on Zoom, I should know these things, but I swear every time I come on, it's like the first time. So, all right, we will go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. My name is Susan, and you have probably received emails from me if you don't know me. I see a lot of familiar faces, so thank you guys for joining us. This is an informational meeting for coaches, for GOC, for staff, for whoever is on here. We just want to make sure that everyone is ready to go for our event this weekend. So that being informal, if you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself. Feel free to stop me. Feel free to interrupt. Feel free to do whatever, or go ahead and type it in the chat. Michelle is going to be keeping an eye on the chat, and she will be sharing those pieces with me as well. So I will start out by welcoming everyone to our 2021 coach call for our Western Slope State Summer Games. We had this past weekend, we were in Aurora for our Front Range Summer Games. And so we're super excited to wrap up our spring season in Grand Junction, where we always are. We are very excited. We are able to be back in Grand Junction. We are very bummed we can't have what we normally have, but we're excited to be able to have something. Probably the biggest change coming in this year is that we are going to be using the track at Colorado Mesa University. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but I think it's a really beautiful track. I think there's a lot of great potential for our event, and I think with the number of athletes, we're just gonna have a really rocking event. So I'm gonna go ahead and start to share my screen. These are a few items that most of you should have received. If you haven't received, I can go ahead and re-email all these out. This is just going to be our general schedule. We are going to start, we're going to do an opening ceremonies around 8:45. So coaches, please make sure your teams are there and situated by 8:45. We'll have coach registration ready to go around 8. Each team will have an area very close to the track where you will be able to set up some tents, some chairs, those kinds of pieces. And I'll cover that a little bit more when I jump over to the map here in a little bit. Immediately following that, so roughly around 9 o'clock, we're going to go ahead and start the 400-meter run. This timeline here is pretty fluid. If we are running ahead, we'll run ahead. I don't think we'll run behind, but those of you that are involved in Special Olympics know that things happen, and sometimes that is the case. But this is kind of just a general guideline for us to get through the day. The general flow of the day is going to be, we're going to run one event at a time. We have a small number of athletes, so we are really going to be able to showcase those athletes and their skills in the events. So I'm just going to talk through a couple of the beginning ones. At 9:15, all of our females are going to do their 100-meter run, 100-meter walk, and then that's where we're going to have the 25-meter wheelchair race taking place instead. That is all going to take place. Let me sneak over to the map. That's all going to take place kind of right here where this red burst of energy was. That's why I put that picture there. It seemed like we need a burst of energy for the track, so I put that right on there. So we are going to be running all of our races right in front of where the teams are going to be situated. And the blue triangles here are where the teams are going to be situated. Keep in mind, right now, there's not a fence from the team area to the track. So we're just going to ask all of the coaches to make sure you make sure the team is far enough back and not on the track when we are running any of our events. Okay. So at that time, our males that will be competing will be going to a performance station. We offered some performance stations on the Front Range for some of the events, and we want to extend that out to the athletes on the Western Slope. So we're going to be having our athletes partake in the performance stations. There'll be more information on that morning when you guys get there, but we'll be able to have those males check in and go to that section to experience that performance station. At about 9:15, at about 9:30, or if the time allots differently and we're done a little bit earlier, we're going to swap. So all the females that just ran will go to the performance stations, and all the males are going to come over to do their 100-meter run and 100-meter walk. We're going to continue with that flow throughout the day. I hear it's going to be hot in Grand Junction, which is nothing new. So coaches, please make sure you're taking care of your athletes. If athletes, we will have coolers out with water and ice that we'll be providing. Make sure athletes are staying hydrated. Coaches, make sure you're staying hydrated. Volunteer staff, make sure you're staying hydrated. we were over on the Front Range this weekend and it got up to 92 and everyone was complaining about how hot it was. I'm like, but we're usually in Grand Junction. And then I looked at the forecast and sure enough, it's going to be even hotter in Grand Junction. So we'll have lots of water and ice available for you guys. If there's a certain time where your athlete isn't ready to get in that race right away, just let us know. We want to be flexible, take care of the athletes and make sure that they are having a successful day as well. Okay. The day will continue to alternate back and forth like that with the events, with our last event taking place around 11 o'clock. Once competition is done, we're going to have all of the athletes go back to where their teams are. And we are actually going to set up some award stands on the track and we will do the presentation right there. So right in front of where the teams are set up, that's where we're going to be doing the awards presentations. We will call one athlete up at a time to receive their award. They'll get their medals, they'll take pictures, and then they will move on and we'll call the next athlete up, okay? We will be providing lunch as well. Subway will be provided, so we'll make sure that you guys will grab that and have that available as well. I would probably recommend, since it's a little bit of a shorter day, maybe just waiting until the end. We don't want anyone putting down a sandwich and then heading out on the 50 and having to have a cleanup in lane 5 or anything like that. So maybe just wait until the end of the day if that works in the schedule for you guys. Okay. Next thing I'm going to show you is we've got a couple of schedules that many of you received today. The first one is going to be the team list, and this is by the start time. So this right here is probably really all you'll need. We'll be there calling the athletes' names. It'll be, like I said, it won't be, you won't have to bring them anywhere to check in. We're just going to call all the athletes who are competing in those first few groups at a time and get them out on the track to compete and get them where they need to go. Each team will also have a couple of volunteers that will be with them as an extra set of hands to walk with the group, extra set of ears to listen for names or team names or things like that as well, okay? Then you also received a schedule with, that was just by Alpha. So this just is listing the team names alphabetically and then their times listed here. So whichever one is easier for you to go with to reference, or both of them will work. We'll have both of these available in your coach packet, so you can pick and choose whichever you would like as well. Okay. I am going to hop over to the map. So again, we are at the track at CMU. So this is a new venue for us. So we appreciate your patience in trying to figure anything out. And if we have questions on the venue, we can save that for a little bit later. I know we have Ben. I think we still have Ben on here from Grand Junction, so he'll be able to answer those as well. So the track is located kind of right off of what was Canal Street and Orchard. As you can see here in this map, Canal Street has this beautiful sidewalk in between there. I think it's still a little bit of a road in that area, so don't be alarmed if you don't see the trees in the walkway up here. This was the only map we were able to find. I usually use Google Maps, but Google Maps doesn't update as fast as CMU does. So thankfully we've got something here. And then you guys will be parking down here in this lot right off of Mesa and Canal, and we will have some signs up for you. So once you park in, you'll just walk right up this road. You'll see our registration tents right in this area here, as well as our souvenir tents. We will be selling souvenirs, have to put a little plug in for that. And then once you guys check in right there, you'll be able to head right into the track where your team area will be set up, okay? Right here, kind of where this red thing also is, that's where the jumping pits are. So the jumping pits will be nice and close to all the spectators as well. And then our throwing area will take place right down here at this end of the stadium. And then shot put will be over here. So shot put and throwing are a little bit farther away. So once we get to that point in the day, if we want to talk about maybe spectators coming a little bit closer, we can go ahead and have that conversation depending on what our numbers look like. We do have some athletes that are participating in soccer skills, and that is taking place here in the middle of the field. If you have athletes that might be interested in checking that out, just seeing what that's about, we're hoping to have time in the schedule to allow that as well. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing for a second and see if we have any questions that have come up on any of those pieces or any comments on anything at this point.
I have a couple questions from Keith that might be some things that we have discussed or have not, so we'll just go over it one more time. So some of these I can answer. Lunches are being served. We have Subway, but again, just be mindful about when you eat your lunch. Then we also have a question about, are athletes running against other teams?
Yes. So this is going to be a pretty much a typical track meet like you're used to, minus the staging pieces. So every athlete that has submitted a score has been division based on their scores. The heats are no larger than 3 athletes. So the maximum number we have in each division will be 3 athletes, because we are skipping lanes to allow a little bit of social distancing. But they will be competing against other athletes from other teams around from the Western Slope. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And then another question was, where do we set up shade covers for their team to congregate at?
Yep, and that, I'm gonna pull up my map again real quick. So that'll be kind of right here where these triangles are. There's a bit of a fence here right when we walk inside. It's a little gravel area. We're hoping CMU will put in bleachers by 2022. Just going to put in another push for that every time I get a chance to say it. But at this point, there aren't bleachers there, so you guys will be able to set up your tents in that area for your team. And that area, you know, we've looked at that area. That area is big enough that each team will have space for a 10 by 10 tent and then some. So there's plenty of space there for that to take place.
Perfect. And if you can keep that up for a second, his other question was, where do we park? That's going to be in that Mesa Avenue or Mesa Ave parking area. And again, there will be some signage that will help lead you there. So that was Keith's questions, and I'd open the floor to anybody else who has questions.
Susan, looking at the map so that we can kind of get an idea of what may happen for the torch run. Where were you thinking about putting the logo torch so that are we looking at starting down here by the shot put throw and then maybe running around the corner, and then I'm assuming the logo man is going to be kind of next to the what did you call that, an energy burst?
Yes, I did. That was the energy burst. Yeah, I think that's probably going to be a great placement for it. And I think we can do that, you know, and then we'll have Michelle's going to work on getting some athletes for the torch run. And we can just have them do like that half lap. I think will be perfect for sure.
Okay. I think we do have some staff lined up that can help with the run. I spoke with the PD today, and they are going to try to send some people over too. And then we'll be looking at, I think Sheriff Spurlock is supposed to be here with as the president for LETR. And then the PD is going to send over Commander Findenberger, I think, or what her last name is. And then we'll have somebody else. So we'll have about 3 people to finally pass that torch to light the cauldron.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Very good. We're very excited to be able to have all the athletes there at one time, since it's such a small group, and to be able to have that opening ceremony. So, you know, thank you guys for your support to be able to have that amazing piece to start the day. Definitely.
Susan, there was a question about masks being worn during the event.
Yes, conveniently enough, that was the first thing on my agenda, and I completely skipped it. Volunteers, coaches, spectators, athletes who are not competing, all have to have masks on. When athletes are competing, they are allowed to take their masks down and pull their masks off. So when our athletes are running or doing their events, pending what the performance station activity is, if it's something easier to do with the mask down, athletes can take their masks down. But we please ask you to reiterate to other spectators, coaches, everybody else, to please wear your masks at all other times. There's a lot of space around here, and it's also going to be really hot. So I want to make sure, if you need a break, if you need to get on the field to take a break from your team to pull your mask down, please just let us know. We can kind of have some areas where we can definitely social distance safely for everybody to be able to take a breather as needed. But when athletes are actively competing, they do not need to wear their masks. Great. Any other questions? All right, fantastic. We will be planning to meet at about 7 a.m. to start setup for those of you GOC volunteer folks. We plan on meeting Saturday morning at 7 a.m. to get things set up. We will be bringing over some equipment from the Front Range. Ben from CM with the Grand Junction Sports Commission I keep saying you're at CMU, and that's not right. So close. They're going to be fantastic in supporting us with a bunch of equipment. He's going to be arranging the coolers with the ice and water, and Michelle's going to be supplying some tents as well. So the setup shouldn't be too much since we're only running one event at a time. But those of you that were leads at the regional event, I'll ask you to take the lead for those events as well at the state event. Even though we're only offering one at a time, I'd like to rotate you guys through. You had the experience, you went through and did that. So those of you that were in those roles, we can just go ahead and duplicate those roles. We do have a really great number of volunteers, really great volunteer turnout. So we will have a lot of fans in the stands, which Mike Ruspel has graciously agreed to get them and keep them pumped up all day. So we need to make sure we're hydrating Mike so he doesn't lose his voice at the end of the day, which is pretty typical for him. But we just want to make sure that those volunteers are feeling involved as well. But like I said, those of you that were leads at regionals, we'll go ahead and keep those leads and transfer those over to the leads at state as well.
Susan, one other quick question. Are the Knights going to be presenting colors, or are we just doing the run?
I think we'll keep it simple. We'll just do the run. We'll do a quick we'll do the run. We'll do a quick script. We're thanking our sponsors. We'll announce the teams. I don't think we'll do a parade. We'll just have teams stand up where they are. And we'll do the oath, and then we'll get the games rolling.
The Knights will be helping with awards though. So they will be there. They just won't be presenting the colors.
Any other questions? Perfect. If there are any questions, you guys all know how to get a hold of me. Please don't hesitate. We've got some staff that'll be heading over Friday night and be ready to go Saturday to wrap up our spring season with our summer games in Grand Junction, which I'm not gonna lie, feels a little bit more normal, even though it's not our regular event. We're just very excited to be able to have this event. So thanks to all of you for making it happen. This wouldn't be possible if you guys weren't there in the trenches with us, making it all happen. So thanks for working with us on all the guidelines, all the precautions we've been taking, all those pieces so that we can get the athletes back on the track, which I know is all what we are looking to do. So much appreciated. And I'll stay on for a couple minutes, but if you don't have any other questions, feel free to enjoy the rest of your evening. And if anyone in Grand Junction wants to turn that temperature down a little bit for this weekend, we'll greatly appreciate it, but otherwise we'll be ready for it. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Susan.
Hey, Susan, I just wanted to talk through equipment list real quick. I got your email earlier today, so I think we're all set with that. I told you